Let's turn our attention now to how cities are managing your money. This is a very interesting way of doing things. The City of Ekurhuleni is asking residents how the council should spend its money. Public meetings have been held on the Integrated Development Plan and multi-year budget. Let's find out how the Finance MMC, Graham Gersbach, has been doing this. Graham, good morning to you. MMC, good to have you on eNCA. And I think a lot of people would be very pleased to hear that when we talk about getting public opinion, you're asking a simple question. It's your money. How should we spend it? Tell me, what's the feedback you've been getting so far? Graham, I suspect you're on mute. Maybe just check your microphone for me. I think you might be on mute.
Sorry.
Not a problem. Carry on. Good morning, MMC. Carry on.
Work the way you wanted to. Yes, we have been going out. Unfortunately, a lot of the input was lost in meetings. We did try to mitigate that by going on to local radio stations and speaking to the people on air, and that did help to some extent. And then, of course, the ward councillors have a responsibility to communicate with their residents as well. At this stage, we're still accumulating all the inputs and reviewing them, giving them back to the departments for their comment and their response. So we don't have a final assessment of where the issues are. Obviously, a big issue is the increases that are above inflation. And I fully understand that, in that businesses and residents are all under pressure. And I think the main area of concern is maintenance of infrastructure and backlogs on infrastructure. And we've got a 36 billion rand backlog on CapEx in the city, against an annual expenditure at the moment of roughly 3.5 billion. So if you've got 36 billion and you are only spending 3.5 billion, it means that could take us 10 years to wipe out the backlog. So we are looking at partnerships with communities and with business to try and address the backlogs a lot faster than we are addressing them now.
So that sounds like that's going to be one of the big plans that you have as far as the City of Ekurhuleni is concerned. Do residents tend to complain, Graham, about how long it takes to get things done as well? Because we always talk of plans, don't we? This is very unusual because you're asking how the council should spend the money, but I would imagine some of the complaints, and it's not just in Ekurhuleni, of course, it's around the country, how long it takes to get something done.
Well, I am as unhappy with the delays often because we're all residents and we all feel the same pain, whether we MMCs or any other resident of the city. And a lot of the pressure is on the ward councillors, because the first thing any resident does is they contact their ward councillor. And our big challenges at the moment are potholes, street lights, and the stability of the electricity infrastructure. With the switching on and off with load shedding, the infrastructure, which is aging, has not been able to handle it. So that is a major concern.
No, I was about to ask you, so you're saying that you're going out speaking to residents, you've been on local radio stations. MMC, let's see if we can't escalate and get more people involved in the City of Ekurhuleni. How does a member of the public actually give their opinion on how it should spend the money? Where are there town halls being organised? Are they getting hold of the ward councillors, which you've spoken about? Let's try and send some more people your way.
Well, unfortunately, firstly, input closed yesterday, the 29th of April. But throughout April, we held 20 town hall meetings in areas across the city. Every single customer care area was covered. And in those meetings, we did a presentation, then got the feedback. We also did a separate presentation to business. And so 21 presentations were done. The other thing is they could send in their input to budgettips@ekurhuleni.gov.za. And as I said, that closed last night. So we are now working through those inputs.
And when do you start acting? When do you start acting on the inputs, MMC? Appreciate the email address. I'm sure people will still follow up. What's the timeline to take all this input and advice you've been given?
We close our budget. We finalize our budget on the last Wednesday of this month. Of May, sorry. And in that council meeting, we'll make our final decision. But on the 10th of May, the mayoral committee will be going through a lot of the input, and each MMC will give their particular input. And we will then revise the budget in line with what we see as the priorities based on the input that we've received. There's no perfect solution, I must admit. I wish there was. But unfortunately, we cannot add any more to our rates and our service charges because the residents can't afford more.
And this is the issue as well. It's all good. It's very difficult. MMC, I think many, if not everybody, would agree with you. It's trying to use the little bit that we've got as effectively as we can. But as a city, it looks like you're on the right track. The city of Ekurhuleni asking residents directly how they should spend the budget. Don't forget, it's not just their budget. It's money that comes from taxes as well. So at least we have a timeline now. We're going to follow up with that again towards the end of May. My thanks to the city of Ekurhuleni Finance MMC, Gersbach, joining us here on eNCA.